The Surfing Violinist presents Navigating the Uncanny Virtuosity Valley and Crossing the Gig Gap. Violin Vlog 56, August 2025. The first of two big August gigs was my cousin's wedding in Alabama. It was a beautiful setting in a great location, and it was such a blessing to be able to catch up with my family during happy circumstances. The bride, my cousin Allison, had asked if they could use my sound setup for two singers and a keyboard player. I needed one extra mic, so I stopped by Lights Music before the trip, and they had some special edition all-black SM58s, which look pretty swank. The keyboard player was named David. He did a great job and got a kick out of the fact that I live in Panama City, where he'll be vacationing in a couple months, so he's hoping to crash my gig with some off-the-wall requests to stump me. The vocalists were a husband-wife duo named Will and Megan. He and his wife did great, and while I wasn't required to play for their piece, I was a sound guy, which was a new twist for me, and I performed the task adequately. It was a blessing to be able to play this wedding, and it was a relief when my first turn as a sound guy turned out well and helped facilitate my cousin's happy day. Now, let's take a look at Bergen Barrel gigs in August, which kicked off on Friday, August 1st. The gig was pretty crowded and went a bit long. I decided to go out on a high note with one of my favorite adaptations, a piano transcription of Radiohead's Exit Music for a Film by Sheldon. I think I got this one off MuseScore, but now I can't find it on the internet. It's a great rendition and allows me to leap to 6th or 7th position for a brief climax. I did okay on the initial approach, but did not stick the dismount with a pitchy E and D on the walk down. That would be enough to make me cringe my way out as an audience member. So if you're curious to know the difference between a professional solo or orchestral violinist and a background gig/session instrumentalist for novelty bands, it's this. The industry professional can and will hit any standard shift to and from high registers on command under pressure. The reason I parade my faults in such a fashion is not primarily because of my self-loathing. It's to help performers navigate that tricky spot between open mics and solo gigs. What kept me from performing for years is the understanding that I am not as good as that upper tier. But the thing is, so much music in our day and age just does not require that level of virtuosity. Let's look at a totally hypothetical series of graphs of this phenomenon. This is how a glib kid sees a violin. I made a noise. People are gonna love this. But eventually someone breaks through your delusion barrier with the reality that you sound like a screeching cat, or one day you hear yourself with fresh ears and are horrified to realize that you ever thought yours was a sound capable of doing anything other than set your own teeth on edge. At this point, you get a little hard on yourself, entering the instrumentalist recital anxiety stage, in which the litmus test for good violin playing is forever out of reach. Until you are playing concertos, you are not ready for public performance. And really, until you're playing concertos perfectly from beginning to end, you're not ready for public performance. The thing is, while tonal range, intonation, and bow tone are the biggest ear killers with violin, there are other skills that you develop along the way: vibrato, articulation, and phrasing, and they don't come to every performer in the same order. So while we are preoccupied with reaching benchmarks related to hitting higher notes, playing faster, and staying in tune, we might have amassed these skills to play a lot of songs really well. And if you live in a place where people don't get to hear violin at all or only very rarely, your skill set might be perfect for that sweet spot. So the graph might look like this: tons of popular songs in a variety of genres, playing the vocal line and instrumental solo bits, but there's this gap between your current repertoire and the standard orchestral or solo repertoire. Every now and then, preferably when the vibe is positive toward the end of the night and the drinks are flowing freely, some limit testing is allowed and even encouraged. Just be careful. You never know when a mystery listener is in the audience. I try to limit these leaps of faith. The only way to cross the gap is through practice, and eventually our graph will fill in these pitfalls as our ability opens all kinds of new possibilities. Playing, practicing, and producing more is the way, as long as you don't get preoccupied with the old recital anxiety spirit. But yeah, if you find yourself limit testing and you're pitchy, shake it off and forge on. But stay humble and respect your audience. The last thing they need is their wine bar to turn into a dentist office. On August 15th, after finally coming to grips with how well Billie Eilish's range fits on the violin, I decided to revisit Birds of a Feather. Wildly enough, this happened.
Thank you, Billie Eilish. If you have any requests, let me know.
Hey,
how's it going?
Hey, good. That song that you played, I came here like months ago. and asked you to play that song.
You're the one that asked me to play it.
Yeah, and you didn't know the song?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I've only played it like twice since then, so thank you for the request.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
I just walked in, like right now, and heard you playing it.
That is so weird.
I haven't been back here since that night.
Well, that's so cool, man. Yeah, is there another Billie Eilish song you'd like to hear?
I have to look at my phone.
Okay, I can play I Love You works pretty good on violin, Ocean Eyes. I can play both of those.
Oh, Ocean Eyes.
Okay,
yeah.
sounds good. The audience member was so stoked on the serendipity of the timing. Her and her friends kept coming up with new requests, from Bieber's new song to SZA to Harry Styles. Again, the perennial violinist snob that I was not even 6 months ago, I would have been rolling my eyes at these kinds of requests and be missing out on a bumper harvest of low-hanging melodies. Just take the win and play what people want to hear. It's great sight reading practice, and it makes their night. On Saturday, August 16th, I was greeted by Carlos and Cindy in the first set, Guy and Dory in the second set. Guy and Dory came with some Talking Heads requests, which was fun, and then it was my daughter's 21st birthday, so her and her crew joined and I let her take the requesting helm. On August 23rd, I was hired to be the musical entertainment for the 80th birthday celebration of Stephanie Gall, a pillar of the local community. They were so generous and accommodating. It was an honor to play this gig, and Alice's on Bayview was a great venue. And in August, we lost our skate and surf and good times friend, Mark Santoli. Mark has played a pivotal role in my violin gigging life. He was there for the first public Bourdain day and was so encouraging because I was riddled with recital anxiety vibes that day, and all his feedback was so helpful. It was there he heard my first public attempt at Anders Thue's rendition of Iggy Pop's The Passenger, which he requested at almost every public gig thereafter. One of my most nerve-wracking gigs was one of my first solo gigs at Los Antojitos, which ended up being my first solo gig after dislocating my shoulder. It was an excruciating gig, and Mark led the charge, assembling a posse of listeners to support me. He kept filming and just helped me make it through truly one of the most important gigs of my life. I had a lot of gigs during that season that I could not afford to cancel, and the knowledge that I could make it through 3 hours in spite of the pain was a game changer. Later, when I was playing weekly gigs at Bergen Barrel, it was Santo and his friend Jen who helped put a fire under me to refine my stage footprint. At the time, I had not upgraded to iPads for sheet music reading, so I had 2 stands set up to accommodate up to 6 pages of sheet music without page turns, but it created this wall. Maybe I was using this as a recital anxiety shield. He researched and found out there was such a thing as a clear plexiglass music stand, and he and Jen got it for me, revolutionizing my setup. Mark would come up with some of the most interesting requests, from Jamiroquai to punk rock, and his instincts for what could work were always on point. So thanks, Mark. I will be playing a lot of Iggy Pop in your honor, and when I finally get string adaptations of Minor Threat, it will be because of you. Thank you, Santo. Godspeed. To see these videos early, without ads, join the lineup here on YouTube. You just need a YouTube account, and for $1.99 a month, you click this little join button and sign up to get early and ad-free access to 4 monthly vlogs: the surf vlog, the violin vlog, the Masala vlog, and the family vlog. Thank you very much.